The European Parliament and the Council have recently reached provisional agreement to reinforce the Renewable Energy Directive. This action is not going to be easy, and Bertrand and I are going to discuss why. Hi, Bertrand, and thank you so much for being here today.
With pleasure.
So, as I said, this is going to be quite the achievement, if it happens, to raise the general renewables target to 42.5% by 2030. First of all, do you think that this is even plausible?
It's absolutely possible because the technologies exist already today, not only to produce clean energy, but also to be so energy efficient that we can reduce the need for energy. So it's absolutely plausible. Now, the obstacle is not technical anymore, it is the human skills. If we want to install all the solar panels, the heat pumps, the energy efficient systems, all these new industrial processes that are economically profitable and at the same time fight climate change, who's going to do it? We don't have the people ready because the education has not anticipated all this need for new jobs, and we have to go very fast on that level.
And how can we achieve that? I mean, you already mentioned that we don't have enough people and they're not skilled enough for what we need them to do. How are we going to tackle this problem?
It's a completely new era. And what is the situation today? The children know what they don't want to do. They don't want to work in oil companies. They don't want to work where there is pollution, where there is not a purpose for humankind, but they don't know where to go. And this makes a lot of eco-anxiety, eco-depression. They think there's no future. And it's our role, and it's the role of the politicians, it's the role of the NGOs, it's the role of the education, national education, to show what are the jobs that will offer a stable and well-paid profession for the future. When I was a student, there were big companies coming to see all the universities and show where there is a need for skills. And we stopped that. We stopped that for maybe 20 years because there was unemployment, so there was plenty of people on the market of work. And now it changes. Now we need again the new skills, and we don't have the people for that, so we have to start again the information, go in the schools, speak to the teachers, speak to the professors, to the students, maybe make information campaigns. You know, really show what we need for the future. And this will give hope to the children, to the teenagers. It will give, again, this feeling that there is a future where so many of them believe there is no future.
I agree with you. However, I can't help but think that the kids in school right now will not be ready by 2030. They're not ready now. So we need somehow to use skilled workforce that exists right now. And we don't have it. And this is basically the problem, and why I think that, why I fear that maybe 2030 we might not make it.
If you want to train someone to drill for installing a heat pump, it takes 11 weeks of training. It's not a lot, 11 weeks. So of course you can train the people who are already on the market of work, but you can also put this in the apprenticeship, you know, where you learn a job in three years, a technical job, a manual job. You have to give it a value. You need to put this into the program. And then next year, you can already have thousands of young people coming on the market of work with the skills that we need. So it's not enough millions of people, but it's people with enough skill. And each year it will be more than that. But you know what is missing? The pride to do this job.
The pride,
The pride to do this job. Very often, there is no pride to do manual work. It's like a second zone profession, which is not true. There should be a pride. And this is why I was proposing today at this session to have a word, a generic word for all these professions that could be, for example, technician of the future. And when these young people will be asked, what's your job? They will answer technician for the future. And this includes the plumber for the heat pumps, the installer of the solar panels, the efficient solution installer in industry or whatever. All this under this word, technician for the future. Isn't it a way to make people proud of going to these new jobs?
So you said that we need to be proud of the work that we're doing. These people need to be proud. I really love the term that you used. However, how about the fact that many young kids don't find the energy sector sexy enough? So it's not only that it's the work that they're doing that perhaps it needs another, let's say, a revamp, but also the energy sector per se. So they prefer to work for the Microsofts and the Amazons and hackathons and things like that, but not in a utility.
You know, you don't save the world only with digital. You'll save the world with renewable sources of energy, with energy efficiency, with waste management, with renovation of buildings. And this is what we have to show. These are the jobs that will save the world.
Yeah, I think that is sexy enough. The jobs that will save the world. And do you think that Europe is sort of a pioneer in that? Or would you say America and China are a little bit more progressed than us?
Europe has made the first really ambitious environmental and economical program with the Green Deal. That was a pioneering feat. But now you have IRA in America that is doing even more. So Europe is a bit taken by surprise and doesn't know how to react. But if we speak about the skills, I think America does it badly. Europe does it not enough. And in China, it's much more simple. The government looks for the jobs needed for the future. They make a directive to the schools and the universities, and they say, this is the direction you have to train the children. And then the children are ready to do what the country is expecting from them in terms of reconversion of energy, in terms of new technologies, in terms of electric vehicles, in terms of renovation of buildings, and all that. So in that sense, it is faster in China. Now, we need to be able to do it faster, remaining democratic. And that's the challenge for Europe.
Exactly. I may be biased, but I prefer our way in Europe, to be honest. Are you planning another, let's say, trip around the world with your airplane?
I have my feet on the ground for 7 years, which is far too long. And now I'm preparing 2 adventures. One is a flight around the world in a hydrogen airplane, and the other one in a solar zeppelin.
Oh, this sounds fantastic. Can you elaborate a little bit, or is it everything a secret?
No, it's not a secret. The hydrogen airplane is an airplane for 2 people that will show really how you can use hydrogen to make long-haul flights. And it will be a non-stop round-the-world flight, about 10 days of flight. And the solar zeppelin, for me, is more an epic, where you will fly around the world in 20 days, speaking to schools, speaking to universities, speaking to governments, and maybe giving also that message about what are the skills needed, which action to take for the children to become the technicians of the future. So it's a fantastic platform of communication.
Well, as the French say, génial. Thank you very much for this discussion.
Most welcome.
And thank you for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe and like.